All right, good evening and welcome back. I'm your host for tonight, Nicholas Dennis, and here we are talking about online promotion. I'm going to not waste any more time as so much of our time has already expended for the evening, and we're going to wrap up by joining our guest in the studio, and we're going to go across to Elias Dupuis and Natasha Yeeloy-Labad. Hi, good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, that's great. Um, Want to welcome you to the show tonight. Thank you for taking the time out to come in across. And I think we're going to talk about because I know both of yeah, I
Good,
should be able to hear you.
Okay,
good.
You good?
I think so.
Okay, you're good. All right. So we want to welcome you to the show. First time on, to a little rough start as we had a few guests prior here with a previous program, and it took a little time to just transition across. But I'd like to welcome you to the show and thank you for joining me this evening.
Of course, Dennis.
Thank you.
I
Happy
know
to
both
be
of
here.
you are
much.
two key individuals with very keen experience with business and one with online and social media and marketing promotions, Mr. Elias and Miss Labad, also with your business knowledge and your experience also. So I wanted to bring two of you on to the show this evening to really reach our audience outside in the nation to actually give some guidance and tips about online promotion, the value of it, and actually getting involved with it.
Okay.
So, would the two of you like to? Who would like to go first to introduce yourself and say a little bit about their background, skills, and expertise?
Elias, the same beautiful people usually go last, so you can go first.
Okay, my name is Elias Orville Dupuis. Currently I work for Invest Dominica as an investment promotion officer. But prior to that, I've worked as a content producer for Digicel, public education officer for the electoral office, and I was once a co-owner of 365. As a matter of fact, Natasha Yeeloy-Labad is the one who vetted my business plan when way back in the day, back in 2011.
Feel like I did a good job. So
She did an absolutely fantastic job. So yeah, that's much of what I've spent the last decade of my life doing. I've worked in marketing, videography, photography, graphic design, a ton of promotions. I think in a lot of ways, I'm going to say this on national radio, but in a lot of ways, I think 365 that I was a part of at the time broke a particular barrier in terms of online promotion, particularly using social media. And of that, I'm particularly proud.
yes, I definitely agree, Elias. You were our first, I think, our island's first MMP.
I'll give you that.
Good evening to the listening public. I am so happy to be on Inside Tech. Mr. Dennis, thank you for having me. I am Natasha Yeeloy-Labad. I am a development consultant. I think most of the nation knows me to be Jacqueline of all trades. I am in all sorts, but that is the nature of development. I'm a master trainer and I absolutely love development projects. So everything to do with training and skills and just getting people to get to that, higher self. That is me. I think I've been most visual of late for being part of the Institute of Customer Service, and also I am part of a movement called Y2Fit 360. My personal passion, however, outsource development, the Outsource Development Center. This is not a plug, but we specialize in business process outsourcing with a focus on training, and that's really is what we do, perhaps maybe every day, 365 days of the year, just getting organizations to massage their people and get their people to the right place. And so any process that you need to outsource development is the place to be for making business better.
Not a plug, not a plug at all.
Not a plug.
That's fine. That's fine. I welcome you to giving your plugs. At least the more individuals outside there in the Dominican public aware of who are the professionals that they can go to will be much more value for development of the nation on a whole. As I said, the topic for tonight is the values of online promotion. A lot of businesses have done a lot of transition from the legacy forms of advertising have gotten online. A lot of persons are looking forward to expanding their horizon, at least meeting new customers and forming new relations with partners across the region and internationally. And I see that as a form of growth for a lot of personal, private institutions, entrepreneurs, and other individuals all looking for growth. So this is the reason why I really wanted to touch this, but I didn't want it to make it be so technical. So I also brought some people with much more experience within the field with dealing with customer relations on a regular day-to-day basis. One of the key things which I feel that is of value for individuals to be aware of is the keys to creating a successful online promotion. And I made some notes as to about the 5 of them will be to make it super easy to participate in an online promotion, getting people to sharing your content and being much more interactive with it, making your promotions mobile accessible, because as we know, a lot more persons are being attesting to mobile access because they use their phone at least 90% of the day. We have our customers, customers and staff see the promotion. So you need to have individual participation within your organization, not just to request from outside. And then you have the option of using paid media to supercharge your promotion. And one of the things which I feel a lot of people have a little bit struggle with, a little bit stagnant, is being intuitive enough to address what type of content is actually good for your public audience. You know, some people don't know how to get started. They don't know what is the best strategy to implement, what type of methods do they try now and try later. And that is one of the reasons why I also wanted to have the 2 of you come on board to actually give your personal experience on this matter. So what would you feel, Natasha, is like a key element in doing a proper online promotion for a business, based on your experience or based on anybody you've been involved with in your type of field?
I think I like how you sort of introduce the topic and came with 5 simple things that people can think about. At the heart of everything that I think an organization needs to be thinking about and an entrepreneur needs to be thinking about is, how is your solution going to solve someone's problem? And as part of, business isn't about you having this awesome problem, this awesome service or this awesome good, but actually it's about solving a problem in an awesome way. And whatever strategy you decide to use, or whatever market you decide to target, you really need to think about this solution. The people don't have to get lost in the solution, as in it needs to be simple from start to end. So the entire journey needs to be simple. People don't need to feel like they're fighting. Sometimes when you interact with services, you can feel like you're fighting to give them money. You can feel like there's so much tension, and I think that's the first thing you need to think about. This is, something that is going to catch the person's attention because, one, it's a solution, but then the process is simple. So you need to think about all the behind steps and plan those out so that when someone comes across an ad, awesome cocoa, you give them the feeling that they are going to be awesome by drinking awesome cocoa, and then you give them the number and they should just be able to click and something automatically say, "Hi, thank you for connecting with us. Do you want to drink a cup of awesome cocoa?"
Yeah, we got to make it easy.
Yeah,
right?
you have to make it easy.
Has to be a simple conversation.
So simplicity, I would say, based on my experience, because I have had pages and pages of content that haven't really engaged, and I've had my experience. And I think simple is, the first golden nugget that I would like to translate.
Okay. Elias, you want to add anything about your experience with that?
So there are 2 ways that I think about content, and I think about content promotion specifically. One is you want to be disruptive while not being intrusive, right? disruptive in the sense that you want people to stop the infinite scroll. One of the greatest social media features that has ever been created is the infinite scroll. As long as you keep scrolling, I don't know if you remember back in the day when in the early versions of Facebook, you could scroll down to the bottom of the page, right?
Yes.
You could get to the bottom of the Facebook page and you would get like,
Load
you know,
more.
what you typically see at the bottom of
I can't remember that.
yeah, I remember it. What you typically get to the bottom of a web page, like the site map
Wow.
and little links, contact us and that kind of stuff.
None anymore.
That doesn't exist on social media anymore. Whether you're looking at TikTok, whether you're looking at LinkedIn, whether you're looking at Facebook, whether you're looking at Instagram, there is an infinite scroll. And as much as you keep scrolling, there's going to be content that keeps showing up. And what you want to do is to ensure that the stuff that you're posting is disruptive enough to stop somebody in their scroll, while at the same time not being intrusive. And when I say intrusive, I'm talking about spam, I'm talking about useless content, I'm talking about clickbait, lies, like, misinformation. You don't want to be posting that kind of stuff. That's not how you want to grab people's attention. But you want to ensure that whatever it is that you're feeding your people with, it's going to be something that stops them in their tracks. So
that sounds like an actual post. I want to stop you in your scroll.
I agree, right? And you've seen a lot of them. A lot of people use those kind of captions. Stop, or they use like a fiery word. Right?
This is me. Get it. Facebook. Look out for me tomorrow morning.
Now that I have your attention,
your
pay attention to this other thing. So there's that. But I think most critically, and it's how I've sort of lived a lot of my life online, is you want to be personal and personable. And I know it's funny to talk about business and personal in the same way, but really and truly, most people are scrolling Facebook not looking for business. So they want to see something that resonates with them and that they can very easily connect with. So using the example that Natasha brought up, because Natasha brought it up, using the example of Awesome Cocoa, one of the things that I did with that particular campaign was that I used a lot of the feedback from customers and inserted it directly into the graphic, and usually it would come with a name. So, for example, it would be Robert G or something like that. I didn't want to put people's whole name on there, but it could be somebody that you recognize, somebody that you know. But it's a real person's reaction to having tasted this product, to having experienced this product. And I think often the photograph is going to stop you. But then the content itself is going to be something that you can very easily resonate with, that you can very easily connect with. So it's got to be personal, personable, disruptive without being intrusive.
Yeah, I like that. So one of the key factors in my experience with doing a lot of online promotion, especially the infinite scroll, is usually trying to limit the amount of text. I see a lot of persons, they usually try their best to cram all the information they need to tell somebody about a product or the item or the business all within a single post. And I feel that's not really valuable to them. Even Facebook has this hidden idea that it's only supposed to use 20% of text in every post you make, and everything's supposed to be more visual because it's a Facebook, it's not a textbook. So a lot of people have that misconception about promotional posts, what it's supposed to entail.
I think you should really gotta be a little more forceful with that. Like 20% of whatever graphic that you're posting, whatever picture you're posting, 20% of it or less should be text. And if it's not, if you go 21, 25, 20, 30% in terms of the amount of text that's on there, you're gonna get dinged by Facebook, right? It's not gonna go to as many people. It's not gonna. You have no opportunity to really get a viral post out of something that has a ton of text on it. That's just not how the algorithm works at this point. So it's something that people should be mindful of, especially if your business, your logo is also text, right? And I'll use the place that I used to work before, Digicel, right? Digicel is text. The logo is actually text. In which case, whatever you're putting on top of that, the copy that you're putting on top of that, the words that you're saying, buy this or get that, you have to ensure that plus the logo is 20% or less of the size of the graphic, of the space of the graphic.
Yeah, because it had someone recently who was in the studio, and after she finished the show, she let me see her Facebook page, and she was asking me how to engage a user a little bit better. And one thing I noticed that she has 5,000, 7,000 followers, but on her personal business page, but she was not retaining any large followership, any engagement with her posts. So you would say to yourself, I have 5,000 people, I have 3,000 people, I'm making posts, but no one's interacting with it. And I looked at the post and I saw the amount of text she used in the post, and I realized that one of the things which I normally tell people, it's part of a social throttling. So Facebook will limit the amount of persons that actually see your content just because of how much text you put in.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, if they consider it being text-based, that means it's a promotional base. So if it's promotional base, they want you to pay to actually get your content out there for more people to see it. So that's one of the restrictions. Some things which I know, if you make a post on Facebook on your timeline and see no people is engaging with it, one of the key areas where to actually empower more people is just use the status. So anytime I make a post, usually it falls on a news feed for the business page, I just share it straight to the status.
Easily.
Because once you start clicking that status, just like WhatsApp, you just keep scrolling to the next one. It's not going and say, I'm going to stop in the middle and say, oh, I don't want to read all that, but I'm just scrolling through.
Infinite scroll.
Infinite scroll.
It's either going up or down, or you're going right to left.
Right or left.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are the factors which really I thought was something impactful for persons to know about. But let me ask you all a different opinion again now. When we come to the traditional forms of advertising, because, we have some companies on island in Dominica, and they're suitable with the newspaper advertising. They're suitable with the radio advertising. They're suitable with the graphic banner, making post-its, distributing or printable ads or printable posts. Yeah. And they're now thinking to themselves, how do I transition myself from being into what I've been comfortable with? I made my budget, I made my marketing plan for this amount of spending. How do I transition myself to going online and saying, okay, I want to engage more persons? I don't really know how to do that. How do I go through that step? And I don't like anyone for you to chime in on that. Like, what do you think would be something they should consider when they want to make a transition from doing radio ads, doing television promos, little video, well, not video, but newspaper clippings and so on. How do you all think about it?
I mean, copy and paste. And what I mean by that is, and I had this, I think I had one of my seniors say this to me this week. Why are you reinventing the wheel? And one of the things, I have found the challenges with is literally not having the time to be able to, think up every day something brand new. And there's something brand new every second, whether it be connecting with Reddit or whether it be that I'm going and I'm connecting with persons who are, really out there in the social media, our local, Instagram and influencers, looking at what they are doing and, what people are responding to can really help. For example, as a consultant, you need to connect with consultants internationally to, get new and inspiring ideas, connect with magazines and international newspapers. And, these are sources that are very pregnant with ideas. And I would say look at these great examples of what exists and see how you can, draw inspiration from that. And the other thing is to be kind to yourself, transitioning from a situation where you are used to print or used to, word of mouth, to now going social where people can be a little bit more critical. You need to be, one, kind to yourself, and two, just think every time you think self-conscious, just think about this statement I'm about to make. Two monies don't fight. So if their dollar in their pocket and your dollar in your pocket meets, it's going to make magic. And in that process of connecting those $2, there are different things that will appeal to different target markets. So people may buy for me because they feel sorry for me. People may buy for me because they like me or they like my personality. Or people may buy because they actually like the product. So different approaches will connect with different people. You just need to be kind to yourself and recognize that you may have to go through a learning process where you might, for example, I remember once I was going live and my phone fell in the middle of my recording, and I was like emotional damage inside, and I literally flicked my hair, and I was like, okay, let's keep going. Someone else, that might break their spirit. So, trial and error, but of course you have the sources that exist that you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
So for companies who have been sort of using traditional marketing methods and are thinking about possibly transitioning into something or having more of a digital presence, I'd say dip your toe in the water. The great thing about social media is that it's free. Most of them are free. I think really only LinkedIn is what you have to pay for. And you don't have to pay for LinkedIn.
And as those ads add up, you say they're free.
No, I'm not talking about. No, I'm not. So that's what I'm saying. Don't put money. You don't have to put money into it day one, right? To get your message out there. Start producing content. Start creating content. And if you're struggling for that, link with somebody who specifically does that, who specifically creates content, and look for how you can represent your message. The same messages that you've been representing, like Natasha says, copy and paste. The same messages that you've been representing in traditional media, you want to be able to replicate those messages in digital media. And perhaps you're going to want to use a softer tone. You're going to want to use a more friendly voice. But for the most part, the messaging is going to remain largely the same. So I'd say don't be afraid of it. I remember a specific client that I once tried to pitch on having a Facebook page or creating a Facebook page, and they literally asked me, how do I turn a like into $1? Which I think it was a fair question in 2011, but at the time I felt like they were kind of just missing the point, because the point wasn't just to jump on and start immediately pulling customers and making money. You have to
groom them,
create that presence. You have to create that audience, and you have to be willing to build that audience, and then engage them with regards to them actually spending money with you. I think a lot of the ways that we have one of the things we have to be mindful of as well is a lot of the ways that we do that online is or a lot of what we do online is we're trying to convince people to purchase offline, right? A lot of our people don't just see an ad and go, yeah, let me click that and buy that thing, right? That's the majority of our population is not operating that way. And if you build your business on that specific business model, you're gonna have a tough time, right? We're trying to get them to purchase stuff offline, which is hopefully we transition into a time where we can where we can purchase stuff online. But I think you have to be conscious of that while you are approaching that task, and you want to ensure that you're really building audience again around your message and around your brand long before you look at extracting money from them.
Okay, that's some great and valuable information there. I'm learning from the 12 for you right now, so thank you for educating me. One of the things which I feel is really good when you're trying to make that transition is to try to exert the less amount of force. So if you're considering the fact that you want to go online, what is the best option for online? I would normally say it's a video. Because with a video, you would have to script something for the video. You would have a voice for the video, and you would actually have emotion, something which is interacting. So because a few years ago, while I was doing television, someone used to tell me when I put something as a still screen on a screen of a video, they would tell me, look at this, and how long do you take before you turn your head? So if I looked at it for 7 seconds and I turned my head a second, that's how much interest the person will have in what you put. So you can't really put something which is still and then just keep it there, because you need to keep the person's attention span. Because people's attention span really so short. So I would say normally you focus on having a video made. You will have someone to actually script it for you. That type of text which you can also send out to the print-based media. But you also have the audio, which is usually something where people hear, and they take the time to go back and play back. So if they miss something, they always want to go back and hear what they missed. And because motion is something that really captures people's attention, when they see something moving, they want to say, what did I say there? They want to go back. So I'll say, just make a video, make the audio with it. Radio is still one of the most functional forms of advertising. If you really want to engage with somebody, you really have to have a conversation because everybody wants to have an opinion. So most times they like radio for that factor. Right now, I believe the internet has gone into a way where not just audio, like podcast has been something, but we on Twitter, which I know Elias is famous for, we have a thing called spaces where you can have audio discussions, you can have groups where all persons communicate in one group conversation up to as many people as necessary. And while you're making that connection, you can also be able to engage with other persons with similar interests, from partnerships, from relations. Because one of the key factors I use social media for is not really just to promote. I try to find individuals which I find that can work with me to extend what I'm doing.
Network.
Yeah, it's a network. It's all about building a network because sometimes you can't just do it on your own.
Right.
Trying to build a platform online and say, you know what, I'm just going to make a page and I'm just going to grow followers. It doesn't take. It takes a lot of work.
There's something that you said that really resonated with me. I think for me as a trainer, someone doing outsourcing, COVID hit my business so hard. Because I couldn't train. Everybody had to be socially distanced, so I couldn't train. And a lot of the outsourcing, I thought that I was outsourcing only to clients locally. And so I started the year out with a bang, not knowing that COVID was right around the corner, saying, hello, we're waiting for you. But because I started the year out with a bang, telling people that I'm going to be on LinkedIn all the time, like, yay, 2020, 2021, 2022, here I come. I had already put that content out there. So guess what happened to me? I had a client call me from out of Dominica that wanted to outsource some of their processes to me and to my business. And I was like, oh my God, I never thought. I thought my market was, Dominica. So that was a first eye-opener to me that I was so imperfect in, putting the video out there and getting my voice right and getting... So you need the energy, you need a whole vibe behind the scenes before you can come on camera. But the point is I did it, even though it was something that I am still very self-conscious of seeing myself on a screen. It can be really difficult and intimidating. So I would definitely say there is that small, there will always be that small unknown, but you just never know when the message is going to hit. So I had my first international client that really took me through COVID. And then I got a second person and I was like, what? Then I realized, At one point I said, Facebook, how come your algorithm is sending my post to South Africa? And you know what? That's it. Maybe I just need to start thinking of the whole world is really my oyster. So I would definitely say there is that little, blind spots of unknowns that you really can't there's no way that you'll be able to say, okay, this is what the outcome is going to be. But you just have to. It's one of those things that you just have to do it because the world is transforming and that's where the customer base is. Yeah, everybody's on Amazon. So what are you going to do? Stay putting your ads in a comic book? I mean,
Yeah.
So just to piggyback on that, I had to learn this lesson. I learned this lesson in a hard way, and I'm hoping that this can inspire and help somebody. But in my former life, I was very much focused on what the content was. So I was very much focused on the art of putting these videos together and putting these ideas together and sort of building a story around that and all of that stuff. And I was very, I used to be a poet when I was in school and stuff. So I'm very artsy and very sensitive. I'm very sensitive about my art, and I had to let all of that go when I worked for a big multinational corporation, because one of the things that you recognize is that no matter how much effort you put into a given video, they're gonna need a piece of content tomorrow. Right? They're going to need another video tomorrow. So you have to not get too attached to what it is that you're actually producing. And you have to ensure that you're willing to not be afraid to create something and not be afraid to, kind of make a mistake in a sense. and not try to be a perfectionist, because if you try to be a perfectionist, it's
Oh my
it's
God,
never really gonna pay
you're
off.
gonna be
The perfectionism does not work in this
gonna beat
particular
yourself
line.
up.
You're gonna beat yourself up about it. The video is probably going to flop, and you're gonna have to create another one tomorrow. So really and truly get the message out, get it out as cleanly and as aesthetically pleasing as you can, but don't spend your whole day trying to figure out how, to make sure that the one little white hair that you have
Yeah,
is
your
not
hair's
there. Come
lying
on.
down straight,
Nah.
like
Because whoever is consuming the content, they're gonna watch it and they're gonna keep scrolling.
yeah.
I get what you're saying in that, because a lot of people consider me a perfectionist, and a lot of times I am very hesitant about doing some things. When I
Yep.
watch it, I'll scrutinize. I'll say, okay, that portion is off. That one is off. But if
Mhm.
I do this action, what am I? But I gradually got into the emotion where I just normally don't think of the content as me. So instead of thinking as me, I usually think of the end user. While someone is engaging with my content, what are they seeing first? And what are they thinking when they see it? And the other aspect is, when they look at it, does it stop them? Does it create that impact where they want to know more?
Mhm.
Sometimes I don't even give as many details as necessary. I just give a one liner and I say, see more. So they'll click see more, they'll go to the
Yeah.
page where it has more or
Mhm.
something like that. So that's really my pull, because I really want somebody to go to the area where it has more to see. Because sometimes you put as much information you want, or you create the content and you put it out there and it's not really engaging.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Ah.
that
Four
hurts.
people
You
like
know
it.
that hurts
Yeah.
because it can be exhausting. You find the perfect picture, you find the perfect words,
Yep.
and like 3 people love it,
Yep.
and they were like, and then I remember we were doing some training, and I was like, what? And then I
And these-
just decided to post a picture of my colleagues one day on Friday, just messing about in the office. We were like, it's Friday, and we're like, oh, let me bathe before the boss comes, and the amount of people,
Mhm.
I'm like, and I started realizing that sometimes it hits and sometimes it misses.
That's true. Sometimes you post something on Instagram and 3 people like it. Like you say, it might have been 2 people that tapped it by accident.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that can happen too.
Their child reach over to their tablet and just tap it. And,
Elias, you kill
you
it.
know, I'm just saying that's entirely possible. So you have to focus on,
Yeah.
my former boss used to say, today's home run doesn't win tomorrow's game.
Right.
So you got to go back out there tomorrow.
We'll back out there tomorrow.
Yeah. Touching on some keynotes which I have here of the types of promotions which are very valuable for businesses that actually sell. The incentives. It usually is very key to utilize incentives. So having an option where you have free shipping or discounted shipping,
Mhm.
or actually discounted delivery pricing, or for one product in purchase of another. All of these things people normally do on the front where they have it in a sales promotion, but what I think is much more necessary is the retention and capture of the
Absolutely.
customers base. They need to have that customer base grown. So if you invest heavily into a promotion, you want to make sure you have the customer base for
It-
further promotion.
I completely agree. It needs to be able to relate back to the bottom line. And that's such a good point, because I find sometimes companies spend so much money trying to get new customers that they're not guaranteed of getting. And I am here sitting pretty for like 5-10 years with you, and you send nothing my way.
Mhm.
And that's why I love referrals. I pay
Mhm.
and recommend. I recognize persons who recommend and who send referrals our way, because I see that as money that I would have spent to maybe advertise on Facebook or advertise on Instagram. If I have a referral of business from you and I say, oh, by the way, I have a referral fee that I pay, to me it's an incentive for you, an incentive for me. I get a new customer, you get a little pat on the back, and I'm happy, you're happy, and the new customer's happy. So yeah, we need to think of the value.
Yeah.
For sure. I think, I think I think in a lot of ways, we have to, like you said, we have to ensure that we're really building that audience. And I think we need to really utilize a lot of the tools that are available to build that audience. What you want to be able to capture, what you want to be able to make sure is that any sale is giving you an opportunity to capture information from this customer, such that you can then retarget them with additional content or additional sales material. So you want to make sure that you're grabbing their email address. You want to make sure that you're grabbing their phone number, maybe, right? So that and having them opt in, or asking them to opt in to you serving them with ads in the future. All of those things can be incredibly immensely valuable and really turn your paid content and the stuff that you're putting money into and make it way more impactful. Because you're sort of getting to be able to hit them directly with the information that you already know that they're interested in.
At critical times.
Yeah.
Multiple times. And nothing trumps the good old customer service. Telling your customers, I love you, is really, service excellence at its best.
Primo.
Yeah. Because, Janice, you can tell me how great DBS is every day, but if I turn up at the door and I don't have a great experience, you might as well have given the person at the front door a hammer, a sledgehammer, or an axe, because I'm not going to. My experience is absolutely important, and service recovery. I use, even if we're about to break up as a supplier, a customer, even if our relationship has been impacted, always think about what happens when I discover that, okay, Natasha was actually not such a bad deal. Natasha needs to leave the playing field level, not burn the bridge down, so that if you decide to walk back across the bridge in my direction, then that's possible. But sometimes, we don't necessarily harness and harvest opportunities for recovery. Somebody upset, okay, you go your way. If you don't want it, well, lump it.
Plus, it's cheaper to cut down churn than to acquire new customers.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Right?
How much is an add-on?
Cheaper to reacquire a customer than to acquire a new one.
For sure. We think about the ads that you'd have to pay to put up the sign, to pay somebody to do the recording, to pay a voiceover to to get the air time. I mean, that's money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And what I want to talk about now is some strategies. So one of the things which I think is most essential to anybody who's out there listening to us on Radio Land, and just so we can recap, this is Inside Tech, where we explore what is IT. We have Miss Natasha Yeeloy-Labad and we have Elias Dupuis here talking about the values of online promotion. And one of the things I really wanted to talk about, or at least to pinpoint, is the value of scheduling. A lot of persons feel like they have to be very active in online promotion day by day. They have to be on it, posting or sharing new content and being that creative person every single day. And that is a false truth. As a content creator, you can be impactful, but you don't have to be there every day. You can be prepared to schedule your content days before. And I think a lot of persons don't really understand that factor in place where you can put your schedule in place. I know for the week what is my prime times based on my customer engagement or at least my public engagement on anything I've been sharing previously, how impactful they've been interacting with my content or interacting with what I've put out there. So if it's a seasonal base, like right now it's independent season, I know people want to be finding out what great Madras outfits are for sale, what type of crab callaloo or crab backs available.
Yeah, what's the hottest spots?
What's the hottest spots where you want to go? How to save money? So you have these little tidbits where people want to have this type of information, but then you say to yourself, I don't want to be here all day because I have to be preparing this type of actual physical items for them. So scheduling is like a very key factor. So I'm going to ask each of you, do you all use any scheduling systems?
I feel so bad. I'm sure my social media strategist is probably listening and saying, Natasha, if you answer that question, I'm going to get you, because I will answer that question this way. Automation really helps small businesses because we can become lost, especially when you're small. and things turn around and you have multiple orders. So this can really you can grow too quickly, and so these little things like being able to schedule in advance, theoretically, I think the idea is that we want to get to efficiency, and I would encourage persons to really look into automation, because it really allows you to stay on top of your social media game. And I think people can get bored and tired if you don't engage them. And I think I've been guilty at times of just going away because I become lost in
Other things.
in other things. So yes, definitely the way to go is scheduling, where you can just use one picture, or have one idea in multiple, and just schedule it. Because if you don't do the scheduling, then you end up with me with a whole lot of screenshots of ideas that never get to the
Listen,
You can write a
Facebook
book on it,
page.
though.
you're preaching to me, Nicholas, when you talk about that, because to be honest, I've had 4.5 years of bad habits being cultivated, because I was in a scenario where we're responding to things as they happen, like responding to numbers in real time and creating content for that kind of stuff in real time, and I'm probably now in a situation where I should have more time to kind of structure and plan it out. And what I can advise people is that that sort of approach, that sort of planned approach, and using the scheduling tools that are available right now on pretty much every single platform. I think even on Instagram you can schedule as well. And Instagram was probably the last one to adopt that feature. And you can use things like Hootsuite and Buffer, and if you've not heard about these things before, go to Google and type in what is Buffer and what is Hootsuite, and you can use those to manage all of your social media platforms all at once, so you don't have to keep copying and pasting and posting things all over the place.
And a good factor,
You
I
can
think, with
cross-post self.
Hootsuite has the mobile app, so a lot of persons may not know they don't have to go to the physical computer. They can actually follow the
You can post
entire
directly from
campaign,
your, right?
the entire email campaign, the promotion
Exactly.
campaign straight from their phone,
And
and
I mean,
reschedule it if to.
making a TikTok into a reel, into a into a
WhatsApp status.
into a WhatsApp status, into a YouTube short, is pretty easy at this point. A lot of these platforms want you to post that content, and so they make it incredibly easy for you to do that.
Yeah, because we work for them. The more content we push out, the more
That's correct.
traffic, the more persons they get on the platform.
If
and
it's free, you're the product.
yeah, you're the product. So it has those options there. For persons who wanted to know what Elias mentioned, Hootsuite is with HOOT and Suite. So if you search for Hootsuite, you may be able to get it. I believe you have it for free for certain limitations of how many networks you can connect to. But then if you get the paid promotion, you can actually get multiple platforms accessible. So we're winding down, but if I want to tell anybody, one of the things which you can try out is, for the person that use Facebook, actually try to go to business.facebook.com. So that is the place where you have the ability to cross-platform between your Facebook and your Instagram account. You have scheduling, you have the e-commerce manager, you have the Facebook analytics. You need to follow your analytics and your
loads of
insights,
resources in there.
because one of the key things that a lot of people miss is they make content, they share content, but they don't know how well it is doing.
Well, each piece
So
of content is doing.
understanding your analytics and your insights.
And understanding what works,
Yeah.
understanding the content that's performing better for you, so that you can kind of focus more on that type of content.
Well, we are definitely visual people in the islands. We definitely connect more with video, short videos, as opposed to someone having a written rant. We prefer to see it live, so it makes sense to get a better understanding of, or to know what people think about what you're posting, and the insights are really good for that.
Yeah. So as I just mentioned, we're winding down. I will talk about some of the key elements in promotions for persons out there who just want to hear it. We have places you can utilize promotions, actually learn about extend your promotion is through utilizing your search engine results, how to maximize your name or your branding. So you can set up business profiles through Google and have a business name set up. And what it will do is it will actually help you promote it through Google Maps system, because the Google Maps for Dominica is very valuable for
It's
businesses.
viable for yeah.
So a lot of persons,
Especially for visitors who may not know where to find it. I mean, I use Google Maps so far.
And
It's for visitors.
It's not used by a lot of people, so there's
Right.
still a lot of opportunity.
because one of the key things is if I visited a place and I have location services on my phone, I am getting an email saying, how was your trip to that location? How was your trip to this location? And they prompting you to actually give a little review, feedback about it, and that is really essential for growth.
And this could potentially be someone who is not even on Facebook.
Yeah.
This could be someone who is not actively on social media,
Right.
but on social media they actually have they actually have an identity. They have a whole review, a whole history about them and who they are and what they do and whether they're good at it and what people think. So it's so important that
everybody has a Google account.
Yeah.
So
Everybody has a Gmail account. So everybody.
everybody for Android device.
Content. Everybody can leave you a recommendation or a review.
Yeah. All right. So, any closing statements from any of you? It's almost 9. I don't want to keep all you here any longer.
Just keeping on. For small businesses, SMEs, we know that we are, in a trying economic cycle right now, and the world is transforming. I would just encourage you to get inside tech.
All right.
The way I look at it, I think a lot of us are banging our head away against Facebook, and not recognizing there's a ton of opportunity in on a lot of other platforms that we're not taking advantage of. TikTok is what I mean. You should, if you are a business, whether you're a business or whether it's your personal account, you should definitely be on TikTok. You should be posting content as long as you want to grow an audience. You should be posting on TikTok. You should be posting on TikTok multiple times per day. TikTok and LinkedIn are the last bastions of reach, right? of unfettered reach, where you could post something and it can go to 100,000 people, right? And on Facebook, that is incredibly unlikely to happen if you don't have a significant number of followers. On TikTok, you can post something one day and it can be seen by 2 people, and you can post something the next day and it can be seen by 500 people who have never come across your profile before, right? Because TikTok is literally serving them that content, serving them that information, and not doing it in a way that's created to stifle you and to really make you pay for stuff. There's also a ton of growth that's available on Twitter. There's a growing Twitter population in this country, and I think a lot of people are missing out the opportunity, missing out on an opportunity to take advantage of that. So sometimes I think you have to look at. I think what I would recommend is look at other platforms other than Facebook. Facebook is where everybody is, to be fair, but it's a lot harder to get your information heard on that platform.
All right. Thank you
to
for
grow.
All right. Now, to just close out, for everybody who's out there and you've been following the show, rightfully said, as Elias mentioned, taking advantage of other platforms is very key. I'll tell you, normally when I go on Facebook, after about 10 scrolls, I don't scroll the newsfeed anymore. I don't generally follow everybody individual pages. I probably will go into a group to see what's going on, but generally I just look for any notification that I may have. That's a general action by most persons, because most persons don't really like to go on Facebook. Live streaming seems to be the key thing, as it gives live notifications and pre-alerts to anybody.
And
so
reels.
In reels, yeah. So those options, they really work for you. Cross-platform posting can work with engagement, to increase your engagement, but it will be better if you can form some form of collaboration with other individuals who are influential. So don't always think that it always has to just come from you. So if you have other individuals who are outside there making content on a regular basis,
and other businesses,
you can reach out to these individuals, these content creators, these inspiration persons, to actually work with you to create this type of content.
Agreed.
All right. And also, if I were to probably tell everybody else, I think having the ability to create your brand online is the most essential thing you need to have. So if you don't have a website, try and get one. I will say websites are not the norm where you can say to yourself, it's something which is just like a library book that you put on a shelf. A website is essential to grow your social media account. It's the cheat. Most people don't know this, but Facebook will always try to connect your website and say, put the like button on your website, put all of this, because they need to resource this information to put it back into their platform to tell people this is where they want to go. Because Facebook wants to compete with Google. They want to compete with MSN. They want to become the new search media house of the entire internet. And because of that, you always have a place. If you can create enough content and compile your content off the platform to your own platform, it'll help you grow. So yeah, that's one of my key notes. And also, if I want to talk about it, also email publishing, email marketing is very real. It's still alive. So try to retain your users. If you need help, you can reach out to a consultant like Miss Natasha Labad. She's there for you. She's available. And Mr. Elias, when he has free time, he may be able to give consultation. Maybe he'll give a boot camp. You never know what will happen. Anyways, thank you all for joining. It's after 9 o'clock, and we're just closing off. This is Inside Tech. Next week, I'm hoping to do online payments, as we will tackle this issue that's been falling a lot of our backsides in the Caribbean. So I'm really going to try and tackle that and bring that out to you. So thank you all for joining. Have a good evening. Good night.